Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you from my basement in North Carolina. It's too dark outside to film, but I got a buddy of mine here that he's a thru hiker for the class of 2020, and he decided to stop in and say hey. Went and had a little bit of dead pig over at Bridges Barbecue here in Shelby, North Carolina, and we just been having a great time doing a little bit of trail talking and just kind of hanging out. So Poncho, appreciate you coming down and hanging out for a while. He's going to be in the area doing a couple hikes in the area, kind of checking out his gear and checking out what he's going to be taking on the trail with him. And who you going to be seeing while you're down here?
It's going to be me, Take a Hike Mike, and then Tribute or Michael Watch One, whatever you want to call him. Yeah. Or a charging station. I don't know. He's got too many names.
Well, now, why does he call himself Charging Station?
What it is? Well, he just now started on the charging station thing from where he's doing the trail magic and stuff. He put a poll up on Facebook, and people could choose a name, and that's what stuck. So it's, I guess it's who you talk to.
So does he actually have electronics where people can charge something? No?
Not that I know of. He has stickers that say charging station.
Well, yeah, but stickers ain't going to charge your iPhone, so.
It works.
That's hilarious. Well, Tribute, for watching this, we appreciate what you're doing out there. Coming all the way, you say from Kansas, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, coming all the way from somewhere in the Midwest, Kansas, we think, and appreciate you coming out here doing trail magic. I saw your video you dropped with Happy, so that was pretty cool, so we appreciate all that. He came down, Poncho came down, he wanted to interview me, I want to interview him, so we're just going to kind of talk back and forth here.
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
You want to go first? Let me go first.
Yeah, you go first.
What got you into hiking at the beginning? Was you in nature a lot when you was a kid, or did you grow up and finally get into it?
Yep. Well, I was a Boy Scout, and I'm an Eagle Scout. Once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout. And so we spent a lot of time backpacking, spent a lot of time hiking. I had a great scoutmaster, and spent just a little bit of time on the Appalachian Trail, not a lot of time on the AT. But the time that I spent, it just amazed me that you could stand on that trail and look north, and I could get on that trail and walk all the way to Maine. And you'd see it disappear between trees or disappear over the hill, and the white blazes would disappear, but I could look that way, and I could literally on the same trail walk all the way to Maine, and I could turn 180 degrees and do the same thing and walk all the way to Georgia. So that just always intrigued me, and just kind of the mystery of where did that trail go once it disappeared around that bend. And so that's kind of how I got into hiking, through Boy Scouts. But that introduction to the Appalachian Trail is kind of what really piqued my interest. Okay. And I was young, and so then I went to college and the Army, and then back to college, and then started a career, raised a family, and did not spend much time out as much. I was an assistant scoutmaster, and so we did spend a little bit of time on the Appalachian Trail with my other scouts, and so that kind of got it back in my blood. And then I started, one day I just was messing around YouTube, and I came across a bunch of thru hikers. That was probably, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, when I really kind of started getting back into backpacking, and I started thinking more about the Appalachian Trail. And then my mom said, hey, I got a book I read, and that was the Walk in the Woods book, which is a disappointment to me after I read the book, because he didn't even finish the trail, and yet he's got this book and made millions off of it, but that's another story. But I did enjoy the book up to the point where he bailed.
It's a pretty good book.
Yeah, it is. I just, he didn't finish it, which it's okay if you don't finish it, but I don't know how you get a book out of it. But anyway, but that kind of really piqued my interest and kind of intrigued, got me back into the AT. I guess my mom talking about it, and she's always kind of liked things like the AT and thought about it, and so that's kind of. And then last year started doing a lot more hiking on it. Got back into doing more hiking, and then started doing the updates and following more thru hikers and stuff, and getting back into the hiker community, and which when I say getting back into it, I really was not part of it like I am now, and just didn't really have the same appreciation for the hiker community now than I did, then that I do now, just because I'm so much deeper into it, so much more a part of it as far as being on the outside.
It definitely changed your perspective of it.
Oh, it completely changes your perspective about it. And the thing about the hiker community is, I'm a Christian, go to church, been in Boy Scouts, beekeeper, you name it, scuba diver, pilot's license. I've just got all this junk that I've been collected, all these certifications I've collected over, a lifetime. And my favorite has been, and now don't get me wrong about being a Christian or anything. That is my favorite. That's where my spirit and my soul is. But the community, by and large, the hiker community is what I enjoy the most, because they're the most real. And you get out there and everybody's the same. Doctor, lawyer, contractor, somebody works at Walmart, it doesn't matter. You're the same as everybody out there. You're all walking the trail, the same trail. You're all going through the same aches and pains. You're all walking in the same rain, the same cold, eating the same cruddy food for the most part, but loving it. And so it's that's the thing about the hiker community, that you're just on an even footing with everybody. So that's what I really enjoy.
And I think it's pretty interesting where you have so many people go to the trail for many different reasons.
Yeah.
And want to get different things out of the same trail, and then that brings people from all over the place together, like you were saying, because you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Even though one person came for this reason, the other person came from maybe a different country for this other reason.
Right.
It's a way to bring people together that's similar enough to get along, but not too close to the same, so it's still interesting to meet each other.
Oh, there's a lot of interesting people out there. There's no doubt about that. A lot of different personalities. Everybody's so different, and you go from people like me that I don't have a tattoo on me, to people that are just that's all they are, is tatted up. And so it's just all walks of life. It brings people together, and it really is a giant melting pot out there. And so those are things that I just enjoy the most about it. You can walk into camp. It doesn't matter who's around the shelter, who's at camp. You walk in there and you're on an equal footing with them, and you can strike up a conversation. And there's always something you talk about, right, on the Appalachian Trail. It always goes to gear, or that hill we just climbed, or the one we're going to be climbing in the morning, or I'm sick and tired of eating oatmeal. So there's always some type of camaraderie, some type of fellowship, something you can talk about with folks on the trail. So those are just some of the things I get into. So what made you decide to try a Thru Hike?
Okay, there's a lot of little reasons, but let's go pretty much what the biggest reason is. I just graduated high school. I got certified in machine trades and welding while I was in high school. I went to a career center.
Okay.
Also, when I was at the career center, I went to I don't know if you know anything about Skills USA, but there's Skills USA. It's nationwide, and there's regionals and then states, and then you go to nationals and all that. And I made it through regional, states, and went to nationals in extemporaneous speaking. Then at the national level, I placed 13th, which got a lot of more thinking, like maybe I should go to college for some type of public speaking. And then I was like, well, you can't do much for public speaking. So I was in this position where I had so many different places I could go, but didn't really know which one I wanted to go for and just take off with it. I was afraid I would start a career or go to college for something and find out that's not really what I wanted to do. So I decided February of last year, which was actually before I even went to Skills USA, but that's still adding into it now. But I decided to go ahead and Thru Hike the trail this year, where I just graduated, get something that mentally challenges me, gets me in a different mindset that I've never been in before, and see where that might take me to, and just go from there.
Awesome. That's cool. So when you get done with the trail, no matter how far you make it, no matter if you make it all the way, just like a lot of people, it changes them. They come out the other side a different person. But you're kind of looking for perspective and I guess you're going around the trail, you're looking for answers.
Yeah.
Out there on the trail. You know, and a lot of people, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people go for. A lot of people also go for, you know, particularly veterans, go to, you know, kind of relieve some of that trauma that they've gone through out there, and just kind of, you know, walk the war off, as they say. So,
and I've seen a few people open up about that this year too, that just like didn't really mention it, and now they're starting to like mention and say that's why they're hiking. I think that's pretty cool. Where
that is cool.
Starting to open up. Now we're getting closer to the.
And you know, that's one reason I'm jealous of thru hikers, because they get out there and you get to hear people's stories, because once they get comfortable around you like that, and it doesn't take long.
Yeah. People
will just open up to you. You know, they're either comfortable around you, or they figure, well, I won't see him again, so you know, why not just go ahead and bare my soul to him? You know, they get stuff off their chest, or say things that they've been wanting to say for a long time, and they haven't either trusted the people, or it just hadn't been the right situation, the right setting to where they could do that. So, you know, I think the trail is very much, it's one where people can go to find themselves, but it's also one where people go for healing. So have you got your gear and everything all dialed in? You know what you're doing?
Yeah, I have all my gear.
And this trip now, that you're doing now, you said you're going to go stoveless.
I'm going stoveless.
So what possessed you to do that?
Well, there's a few reasons. Honestly, one of the main reasons, I just broke my second stove, and my other one hasn't came in yet. So I still have a stove that's supposed to show up in the next 2 days. So I didn't have it when I came down, which would be the simple answer.
Yeah.
But also, I've never done it before, and I kind of want to see where it puts me.
So when you're stoveless, like at this time of the year when stuff's going to be frozen, how you going to thaw out water to mix something up?
I'll have to figure it out. It's gonna be
figure that out as you go.
It's gonna be interesting.
I mean, you always build a fire.
Yeah.
Do you have stuff to build a fire with?
I do have that.
Okay, well there you go. So you may have to do that to thaw out some water.
Depends on if it snows or not, or how cold it gets.
Yep.
You know the area more than me.
Yeah, and I've been watching the weather too. So you're liable. You're gonna be at altitude, so you're liable to get some snow up there.
It's a shakedown.
Yeah, it is a shakedown. So we'll see how good a shakedown is. How long are you going to be out?
I'm going to be out in total 5 days, counting both trails.
Okay. So you're going to be just overnight, the first trail at Mitchell?
Yeah.
And then the Art Loeb Trail, you're doing the whole thing?
Yeah, it'll take about 3 nights probably.
3 nights.
And then 1 night in between before I actually. Okay. So technically 4 nights on trail, but.
Okay. Well, that'll be a good time for sure. That Art Loeb is a gorgeous, gorgeous trail. So hopefully you have good weather, because it's got a lot of ridgeline, a lot of good views.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, you enjoy that. What are your you just being fresh out of high school? What do your parents and your family think about you just going off like this?
When I first said it, or now? Which one do you want?
Both.
Okay, at the beginning, questionable. Especially questionable when I said I was going to Kentucky to meet Screwball and Camper, and they was like, "You don't know these people. Why are you going out of state to meet somebody you don't know?" And I was like, "It's different. I do. Like you know people. I think more in this community than you do in most." But they was a little skeptical about that, of course. And then after that, they kind of relaxed a little bit. And since then, they've been more for it. Like. They was never against it, but they was like, be sure you want to do something like this before you make a video, or you make some type of video and just make a fool out of yourself. At least know what you're getting into before you do it. So now they're for it and just excited to see me get out there and get back.
Did you show them some of Camper's videos?
Yeah.
And who else you hiking with? The Screwball, and his Dennis.
Dennis Chase.
Dennis Chase, is he going to? He's going with you too. So did you show him some of their videos?
I haven't showed him Dennis Chase yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
he's French Canadian.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Canadians are nice.
So I
trust him.
That'll be really neat to get his perspective on coming to the USA and hiking here.
Yeah.
But all of them have such different personalities, so that's going to be a really
and different
good...
accents too.
Oh yeah, they do.
I thought I was having trouble.
They think you have an accent. You're from West Virginia.
I thought I was having trouble taking Screwball and Camper from each other. Now we're going to put a French Canadian in there. That's gonna be a good group.
That is. That'll be a lot of
fun.
of
vloggers together though.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you get a bunch of different perspectives too.
Well, I'm sure y'all be including each other in your vlogs and stuff like that.
So it'd be.
That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah. One thing, you've hiked some of the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
What is your favorite section you have hiked?
Oh, my favorite section that I've hiked. Now, full disclosure, never been a thru hiker. Plan on doing it for my retirement gift. If I can't talk my bosses into giving me a 5 or 6 month leave of absence before I retire, then when I do retire, that's going to be my gift to me. And so that's going to either be in about 5 years or maybe 7 years. But my favorite part that I've hiked, and I've hiked all the way, I've done everything from Springer to into Tennessee and a little bit above there, but that's everything continuous except for a short section, about 60-mile section there from north of Hot Springs to Hughes Gap, which is just before you get into Roan Mountain Highlands. But Roan Mountain Highlands is by far my favorite section of the trail. And I like Grayson Highlands in the Mount Rogers area. That's gorgeous up there too, and the ponies add just another dimension to it. Never been there when there were steers, so I don't know how I'd be around longhorn cattle up there. But the ponies are really neat. But being up at Roan Mountain, it's like being somewhere like you're in the Sound of Music. And when I went through last year, the Over Mountain Shelter was still open. Now it's closed.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate. I hate that for the class of 2020 and just everybody in general, because that's such an iconic shelter that people stay at. And I hope that some of these people like REI and some of these other people will come forward with some money and let's get this thing refurbished so that it can stay there. Because it's really, really, and it's historic value, not just for the trail, but the Over Mountain men came from over in Tennessee, and they came into Kings Mountain, North Carolina, which is only 15 miles away from here, and they were the turning point of the Revolutionary War. And if it hadn't been for the Over Mountain men, then we may be speaking British now, or the King's English. So they came and defeated Major Patrick Ferguson at the Battle of Kings Mountain. And so, that Over Mountain Shelter was supposedly one of the places that they stayed. And I don't think the barn was there then, but that area was where they stayed. And that's how the barn was named the Over Mountain Shelter. And so that's such an iconic place on the shelter that I hate y'all are not going to get to stay there. There is you'll get to see it, and there's a field out there where everybody puts their tents up, so that'll be cool. But that whole section through Roan Mountain Highlands in there is just you can 360-degree views in the balls with no trees on them, and even coming up to when you're coming through actually Roan Mountain and you're going through where the old hotel used to be, you'll pass an old chimney. You'll pass the old foundations of the old hotel. There is the highest shelter on the Appalachian Trail, which is the Roan Mountain Shelter, is there. It is through that area there. So before you get to the hotel, you'll pass the chimney, and then you need to start looking for the shelter. And the shelter is off the trail like 1/10 of a mile, but you'll see a post that points up to it. And that is it's the highest shelter on the AT, higher than anything even up north. So you at least need to go up there if you're not going to stay there. But it's a fully enclosed, and it was an old, it used to have an old fire tower there, and so this was an old fire warden cabin that they've refurbished. And so it's actually the building that the fire warden who manned the tower used to live in. So it's got a double decker and a front door to it, and shut the door and windows and all that neat stuff. So I'd encourage you, if you don't stay there, to at least go up there to it.
Yeah.
And just to see it. I've stayed there before, and then went on, continued north, went on through the Roan Mountain Highlands. So that's really a gorgeous area up through there. And you get past Over Mountain Shelter, And then the next section up through Little Hump and Hump Mountain, again, is all above. Well, it's not above tree line. It's not above tree line naturally. It's all been cut, and then it's been mowed, and now they keep cattle up there to keep the grass down. The National Park Service does, but there's no trees up there. It's all bald. So that's my favorite section, where you can see just see out for miles and miles, and you can see Tennessee and North Carolina on a clear day. You can see down into South Carolina, so it's pretty neat up there. What are you most looking forward to about the trail?
Other than the start and finish, or let me see. Probably, like, of course, I can't wait to see the first plaque, because I'm doing the approach trail, so I can't.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to actually get through the approach trail and then actually see the start. I'm not someone that says you have to do the approach trail to be considered a through hiker, but it's something that I just want to do.
Yeah.
Because I think
the approach trail is not on the trail, so you don't have to do it through hiker.
But of course, there's people out there that says you have to hike the approach trail. You didn't really through hike the trail, and then you get the people that say if you're scared of the 8 miles or whatever, you shouldn't. Right. I'm nothing like that. I don't care if you hike it or not. I just think it's an interesting and I would say inconvenient way to get to the top, but a lot of people seem like they're doing it now. So. And plus, I've never seen Amicalola Falls, and then I've had people tell me you could look at the falls and still drive up to the top. That's the approach trail to the top is something I'm really looking forward to, which technically isn't on the trail, but it's right at the trail. And then after that, probably Fontana Dam. Just one of the really weird reasons when I did my shakedown hike in Shawnee Trace Trail next to Cumberland Falls, we went across the dam, and it looked like a miniature version of Fontana, like I've seen, because I've never been there, but I've seen it on videos.
Well, it's the largest dam, I guess the largest concrete dam east of the Mississippi. So it's pretty impressive, particularly when you walk across there and and look down it. When I was, I don't know, I guess I was probably in. It may have been high school. Yeah, I was in high school. I was driving. This is before 9/11. And we were rafting or something because the Nantahala River's there. So we'd rafted and we went over to the dam. And we drove down to the base of the dam down there where you actually go in the dam if you work there. And there was no guards or anything else. Now there's guards and there's fencing and everything. There was no guards, no fence. We knocked on the door. Nobody came to the door. It was unlocked. We opened the door, yelled. Nobody was there. We walked inside. There was a booth there. Nobody was in the booth. And so we just kept on walking and hollering for somebody. And we walked all the way into the turbine room where all these turbines are lined up, running. And actually there was a door open and got to go inside one of the turbines while I was spinning. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. There's nobody running this dam here. So, now, of course, you get shot if you did that. But when I did the Smoky section, we, of course, walked across the dam, and there was a guy there who was just doing maintenance. I don't know what he was doing, but he was up on top of the dam, and we talked to him, and he said that there's still nobody that works there in the dam. There's only like one guy or something there. The rest of the people, it's all automated, and the rest of the people are somewhere in like Knoxville, Tennessee, and monitoring it from there. And if there's a problem, they get an alarm, and somebody has to come there, and they can shut the whole dam down from Knoxville, Tennessee, but then people can respond to whether there's a problem. So it's still really wild that this huge, massive structure there has only got one person in it working the whole thing. So, but it's pretty cool. So
it's different technology.
Yeah. But there's a lot of neat stuff. Man-made, but particularly the natural stuff that I like on the trail. Being in West Virginia, have you ever been down to like Dragon's Tooth or McCaffrey?
I have not. I have not stepped a foot technically on the Appalachian Trail.
So that's something we just. My daughter goes to school up in Virginia, and so we went to see her and came back by McCaffrey's Knob, and I think it's like a 4-mile hike from the parking lot up there, so it wasn't bad. But it was really neat to go up and see. I mean, that is kind of like the iconic place. I don't know if the movie or the book made it the iconic place or not, but it's pretty neat to go up there and see that. So we enjoyed that. That's about all I got for you. I just enjoyed talking to you, enjoyed you coming down. You got anything else for me?
I thought I did, but I'm trying to think of it.
Well, we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, I know. I asked one question, you answered 3 or 4. It really goes quick.
I'm pretty much an open book. And sometimes I start talking, and I'll probably answer 3 questions ahead of you.
Hey, but it works out that way.
Yeah.
Let me think.
Well, listen. If you don't have anything else, good luck to you on your hike. I'm looking forward to following you along, and so you're gonna be with Dennis and Camper and Poncho, and then who's the other person you're gonna be with? Screwball. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes, and also the dynamics. I look forward to all of y'all's videos and see if each of you appears in y'all's videos and stuff, and how that goes. And the thing about it is you're starting out with them, but there's no guarantee you're going to stay with them.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm starting a week after them.
Okay.
And then I'm catching up to
them. Okay.
So, I mean, who knows? I may not ever even catch up to any of them. But I'd say that at least 1 or 2 of them I'll catch up to.
You probably will.
Or I'll see them at Trail Days, which I'm pretty excited for Trail Days.
Yeah. Well, that was a good time last year, but that's a whole nother video. All right. Well, folks, that is all we have got. We've enjoyed talking with each other. I'm glad Poncho got down to come and hang out with me, and so we hooked him up a little bit of trail magic here, and so tomorrow he'll be good and rested, and he'll be ready to hit the western North Carolina mountains. So just appreciate you watching. Appreciate you staying to the end of it. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out here.